And the reason that I've got 2 cards for that cruise is because here we are again, travel fans, right here in front of the red sofa on Sunday for Sunday Sofatime. Today, I'm going to tell you about all of the cruises I've been on. If this is the very first video of mine that you're ever watching, then please let me know. Please write that in the comments below, because I'm assuming that anybody who participates in the very unofficial travel guides knows that I love cruising, and I know that you guys love cruising as well, because as I've said before, anytime I post about cruising or make a video about cruising, it gets a lot more attention than other videos that I post. So yesterday I was looking for my Lufthansa Miles and More frequent flyer card, and as I was searching through this pile of things, I found all of these, the cards for the SailPass cards or the SeaPass cards or SetSail cards or whatever they're called, from every cruise I've ever been on, except for one. One I had to ask Marcus for his. And I thought, well, that's a good idea for a video, to just like go through all of them and just talk a little bit about each one of them. And here's a funny side note. So I had them all set, I had them all out, and Marcus and I were standing back here on the counter, and I was trying to go through and figure out which cruise happened after which, like go in the order. Like I knew the Monarch was the first one, and then I was like, and then was the next one Msc, or was the next one whatever? And I was like, and then I know we did this and this and this, and then I couldn't remember, is it this and this? And Marcus said, well, the dates are on the cards. And I was like, dope! Yes, so now I have them all in the right order. And there's 13. So 13 cruises I've been on now. And the very first cruise was the Monarch of the Seas, October 25th, 2010. This was part of a package that I booked that I don't think is available anymore. It was called Way More Than a Cruise, and it was a partnership between Royal Caribbean and Universal Studios Florida. So we got like a package deal with I think we had 4 nights on the Monarch and then 3 nights at Universal. So it was kind of like how, I think they started doing it to be like competition with Disney and the Disney Cruise Line, but it was a good deal, and that was our first cruise. And had we not done this cruise, probably, then we wouldn't have done all of these. And I also think that this cruise has a big part in my success on YouTube, because that was the only time that I've ever been to Coco Cay, or as some people call it, Coco Cay, and that is not only one of the most popular videos on the very unofficial travel guides, but if you search for videos of Coco Cay, it is the most popular video about that subject on the entire internet. So that's something that I'm proud of. And that all happened on this cruise. Moving on. This was the card that I could not find, so I've got Marcus's here. And we were on, then, the Mariner of the Seas, starting April 5th, 2011. Here's the card. And this was a 2-week cruise, the longest that we've ever been on a ship. And it was through the Mediterranean Sea, including Jerusalem. So, Israel. So we stopped in Bethlehem and Jerusalem, and I've made some videos about, there are videos about all of these cruises, but I recently did a Sofatime, recently. Anyways, there is a Sofatime about how I feel like God spoke to me on that cruise. I know it sounds very philosophical, whatever. Before you judge me, take a look back in the Sofatime or the Storytime playlist and just watch it for yourself and let me know what you think. All right, the next cruise was in October of 2012. So this one was April 2011, and then the next one wasn't until October 2012, and that was on the Navigator of the Seas, and that was also in the Mediterranean. It was shorter though. I think it was only 10 nights, and we stopped at all the places that we stopped at on the Mariner, except all the places in Israel. So it was kind of nice to go back to places we had been already, because then we knew more about what we wanted to see or what we didn't want to see. And this was the cruise, and I've also made a story time or a Sofatime about that, where I couldn't make it to the first port, so I had to fly and join the cruise on the second port. So if you want to see that, look through the Sunday Storytime playlist, and you'll hear all about that as well. Then, then we get to MSC. Oh, that MSC cruise. That was for my birthday, so we started April 15th in 2013. And it says we were seated in the restaurant Quattrovente. You know, I've talked so much about this cruise, and I've sort of slammed MSC a lot because of our experience on there. But since then, I've been hearing a lot of really good things about MSC, and like friends and patrons over at patreon.com/veryunofficial, like Rochelle and Mike. Hi guys. They've been on MSC a few times now, and they really like it, and they say that for the price to cruise in just like a normal cabin on Royal Caribbean, you can spend that much money to cruise in like a suite with a butler on MSC, and they're like, you know, do it. And so it's something that I'm considering more and more. And you know, the MSC Meraviglia, which is like a twin of the MSC Seaside, this really big ship with like the split back, is in Hamburg now, and I've contacted, okay, I'll tell you now, I have contacted MSC to see if they would be interested in like working together to make some videos about the Meraviglia, and I have not gotten a response. But I promise you, if they write back and are interested in working with me to get on the ship and to make some great videos, then I definitely will do it. So keep in touch. And MSC, get in touch. The next was our first and only transatlantic cruise, and that was on the Norwegian Epic. And I noticed a red dot on the back of this card. And I couldn't tell you what that means anymore. Oh, wait a second. No. I was going to say, when we were on the Mariner and went to Israel, I felt like they had to put some sticker or something on the SeaPass card, but there isn't on Marcus's. Anyways, so the Epic, that was the cruise. It left from Miami, and then I think we had 8 sea days before we were on land again, and that was in Madeira. And that was, we had a really good time. That was probably the best entertainment that we've had on a ship, just because there was so much going on. There was Blue Man Group, there was Legends in Concert, there was the I think Second City improv comedy, dueling pianos, Howl at the Moon. It was a really, really great experience. But I made some fun videos about that. There's a whole playlist called Epic Journey, so look through my library, look for Epic Journey, and then you can follow the whole thing from beginning to end every day. And that is where I did that funny rant in the last morning, you know, talking about why do we have to get up so early, and why are they spitting us out into Barcelona? Sometimes I like to go back and watch that video. All right, the next one was a cruise that I often forget about, not because it was bad, I don't know why, but it was a Legend of the Seas, and that was August 31st, 2014. And actually, I think of all the cruise videos I have on my channel, and I made a whole playlist about this every day from beginning to end. You know what, I can just hear there's a bee in here. Can you hear it? Got the windows and the whole balcony doors and everything open because it's so nice outside. Sorry, tangent. Yeah, the Legend of the Seas, like I said, I kind of forget about it, even though it was a great time. And also, I don't know, I feel like these videos aren't popular on my channel. I don't really get it. Maybe it's just because the Northern Europe destinations, it was like a fjord cruise. I don't know, I guess not popular, or people who like to watch cruise videos on YouTube aren't looking for that. Anyways, it was August 31st, 2014, and it was on the smallest of the royal ships that I've ever been on, the Legend, and we had just a really great time, especially in Geiringer, going up, hiking up the fjords and looking at the waterfalls and everything. It was really, really amazing. Not the kind of cruise that we usually do. You know, usually we are doing something that's warm and has to do with like beaches and stuff like that, and this was more of like sort of a nature cruise, but it was really cool. Then the next one, which just kind of stands out, and that is was the Aida Luna. And for anybody who doesn't know, Aida is the German brand of Carnival, and they are the ships with the kissy mouth on the front. So you've probably seen them in ports. Those are Aida. And the entertainment on this ship was also really good. So like big musical productions, musical reviews and stuff like that. The food structure was much different. They had 3 different buffet restaurants, which of course was heaven for Marcus and I. And I think they only had 2 specialty restaurants, a sushi restaurant and a steak restaurant. And otherwise everything was in the buffets. And this cruise, where did we visit? I think it was all the same places that we visited on the Legend, except for Geiringer. So I know we went to Oslo, and we went to Copenhagen, and one other place. I can't remember where it was. But there are like colored dots here up at the top, and they're all blacked out. And I don't know what that means. Any Aida fans out there can tell me what that means. Write it in the comments below. Right, moving on was the Norwegian Getaway, which was, I think, the first time that we ever had the ultimate beverage package on a cruise, and we definitely used it on that cruise. And that was really one of the most memorable cruises that we've been on, just because, like, everything went right. Every port we went to, we had a great time there. We picked really great excursions. We did zip lining, and we went to beaches and things like that. And the Getaway was like really, really new, so the whole crew was really like into it, and we enjoyed the ultimate beverage package. And they even had fireworks, the only time I've ever had fireworks on a cruise, and it was just really, really special. And so that's why I have special memories of being on the Getaway. Moving on, the next cruise, and this was kind of a big jump, right? So this was January, February, March, April, May, June 20th of 2015. And the next time that I cruised was not until November 19th of 2016, so like more than a year went by, and that was on the Harmony of the Seas, the biggest cruise ship in the world. Yes, that was, as you know, I went on that alone. Marcus couldn't come with, and I said, but I'm gonna go anyways. It was one of the inaugural cruises. It was I think it was the first or the second time that it cruised out of Florida. So that was a really cool experience, and of course the Harmony of the Seas is an amazing ship. I would love to cruise on it again, and it was the first time that I had been in an inside cabin with a virtual balcony, and I really enjoyed that. I think for the tiny extra price that you pay over just a normal inside cabin, a virtual balcony cabin is definitely worth it. There's also a video about that cabin in my library, so you just go and click on the, what is that called, the magnifying glass, and then you can search for it in my library. I always say I'll link it in the description below, but I usually forget to do that. But I also made lots of videos about the Harmony of the Seas, so those are also in my library as well, and really, really fantastic ship, really fantastic time. Although, that was the cruise where I sliced open my foot on a rock in Magens Bay and had to get stitches on the ship, and that kind of threw a wrench in the works of that cruise. But here I am now, and everything is fine. All right, next one was the Freedom of the Seas. Freedom of the Seas. That was April 15th, 2017. So Monarch was November 19th, 2016, and like a half a year later, we were on the Freedom, and that left from Fort Lauderdale and also went to, yeah, that was the Virgin Islands again, right? you know, it kind of mixes together after a while. But Freedom of the Seas, first time I had been on that class of ship, we had been on that class of ship, had a great time. Also had the beverage package as far as I can remember, although it doesn't say anything about it on here. And one thing that sticks out in my head about that, in addition to all the other things, was on the very last day when we were departing the ship, we tried to stay on the ship as long as we could. And we went back to the cabin at one point, and they had opened the doors connecting all the balconies. And so it was like the longest balcony ever on a cruise ship. Also, sorry, I just thought I heard a bee again. Also, we had gone up to the pool deck, and it was like looking really cloudy. And Marcus was like, let's just walk over the pool deck one more time before we get our bags and go. So we did it, and from like the front of where you can go outside on the pool deck to the back is quite a big space. And in the time that we started walking in this, what is it, probably like a minute and a half, it started pouring rain, and we got totally soaked, even just in these like 30 seconds that we were probably outside during the rain. And I remember giving him the stink eye and be like, thanks. Yeah, Freedom of the Seas. All right, next one was the Norwegian Epic, the first time that I had ever been on a ship for the second time. And this was a cruise that left from Civitavecchia outside of Rome and went to, first time I had been to Palma de Mallorca and a couple Italian ports as well. And that was a cruise that I also did, not with Marcus, but with my buddy Andreas. And by the way, next week, on Tuesday, I'm flying down to Munich to spend some time with Andreas. So he says hi, I'm sure. And we had a really great time on that cruise. It was the first time that I had ever cruised with somebody other than Marcus, because otherwise I had cruised alone. But yeah, we had a good time. And the Epic, you know, the Epic is actually a really nice ship. The only, you know, negative side about it, and I've talked about this enough, is the really weird bathroom design. Oh, well, what does that look like? Well, look in my videos and you can see 2 cabin tours about the cabins on the Epic. And that was in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September of 2017. So about a year ago now. Moving on. Then we come to the Norwegian Escape, and this is the cruise that I'm still uploading the videos from now. So every weekend I do a Sofatime, and every week I upload a video from my travels. And so these videos are still going online now. There's still quite a few coming, and that was April 20th of 2018, so just a couple months ago. And that was the cruise that we went on with my mom. So my mom's first cruise, she had a great time, and I'm sure that we're going to get to cruise with her again, and I'm really looking forward to that. And the Escape, of course, fantastic ship, loved it. Oh, here's the bee. Don't fly up my pants. Go away. Oh, it's not a bee, it's just a really big black fly. Ew. Go away. Where's the cat? Sorry. Yeah, the Escape, great ship. Couple improvements over like the Epic. A couple things I like better on the Epic. But all in all, we had a great time, and I was so happy that I could take my mom on a cruise. Then, the last 2 cards I have are from the Jade, which is the most recent cruise that we did. That was just, we left on January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, July 1st. So it was just a couple weeks ago, actually. I've been working so much since then, and that's why it seems like a little bit longer in the past. This was the shortest cruise we've ever been on. It was like a micro cruise. So we flew from here to London, boarded the ship in Southampton on a Friday night, and we were back in Hamburg Sunday morning. So we weren't really even on the ship for like 48 hours. And we had a good time, and there are going to be videos from that coming up as soon as I finish the videos of the Escape. And the reason that I've got 2 cards for that cruise is because we were only on there 2 nights, but on the second night we had to change cabins in the middle of the night. And if you want to know why, then just keep watching the videos and you will eventually see why. Otherwise, it is one of the special videos that I already posted at patreon.com/very unofficial, so I know all my members over there have seen it. They know what happened, and if you really want to see it in advance, then you can go sign up over there, and then you'll have access to it as well. And that was all my cruises, all 13 cruises in a nutshell. And now comes the time on Sunday Sofatime where I answer your questions live here on air. In last week's Sunday Sofatime, I talked about 8 random and dangerous things you cannot take on a cruise ship. And I've been getting a lot of comments about that. And so these comments are referring to that video. And let's just start here with Marcia Bryant. Marcia Bryant says, I just cleared out half of my suitcase. That was just taking the drone and the crossbow out. Who knew? That made me laugh, Marcia. So what she's referring to is you cannot take a crossbow on a cruise. That might be obvious to some, but in this list that I found on this maritime law website, it was literally listed as a specific thing that you can't take with you. So no crossbows on board. And what I found out from some of the other comments is nowadays you can take a drone on a ship, but you can't fly it on the ship. You can take it with you like in port and stuff like that, but you don't try to fly the drone on the ship. All right, another comment is from Mustang Erin. She's been around for a while. Hi, Erin. I'm always happy to see your comments and know that you're still hanging around with me. Thank you very much. She writes, I like the champagne waterfall on our last cruise, but I'm not a fan of drinking champagne. That's in regard to the secret word. In regards to the conceal and carry laws, I watched a border security show based in Canada where I live, and someone tried to bring a gun across the border into Canada because they thought conceal and carry meant everywhere. Big no-no, for sure. What Aaron's talking about is that even if you have a conceal and carry permit, you cannot take your gun with you on a cruise. And unfortunately, I know that there are a lot of people in the United States who do the training to get their conceal and carry permit, and they still don't understand the rules of how it works. And I know that there are people who've tried to take guns to Disney World, tried to take guns on ships, and and then they get frustrated that they can't take them with them, and they try to quote the Constitution and say it's their right to do it, and it's not. A cruise ship is private property, so you cannot take your gun with you on a cruise. And I think that should be obvious, actually. And actually, there's another comment about that I wanted to quote, and it's from somebody else who's been following me, who's kept in contact with me for so long, and I'm so happy, and a big hello out to you, Bruce Johnson. Bruce writes, a thing about most of us gun enthusiasts is most, and he says, notice I say most, of us know that while our laws allow us to carry as long as we've abided the regulations of our respective states, we also recognize that even though we have that right, that said right doesn't mean that we can take them any old place we please. Thank you, Bruce. Right. Any place that is privately owned, such as a business establishment, whether it be a restaurant, sporting venue, and even a cruise ship, have the right to prohibit anything from entering onto their premises, including weapons of any kind, even guns. Well, yeah, especially guns, if you ask me. Now I admit that my experience with various cruise lines is limited, having sailed 4 times on Disney Cruise Line and once on Carnival. Sounds good to me. However, each of those times I had to sign an agreement before they would let me do the online check-in, and on every occasion it states that such things are not allowed. So it should come as no surprise that they're not getting on the boat while armed, and if such simple guidelines are that hard to follow, then I would strongly encourage that slack-jawed, 3-toed, knuckle-dragging troglodyte to stay home, please. as I'm sure they would never understand the instructions of the muster drill. Yeah, I am totally with you, Bruce, and I'm so glad that you wrote this because I think that, of course, there are people who do conceal and carry, and they follow all the rules, and they're very respectful about it, and they don't rub it in everybody's face, and then there's these other people that you describe, and just like you, I hope that they don't go on a cruise, because I don't want to be around people like that. There was one more thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm not going to quote any specific comment here, because I can't find any of them right now, but one of the things that was on this list that you can't take with you on a cruise was a satellite phone. And there's two theories about why that is in the comments. Actually, one of them is here, and it's from Pampelmoose. Pampelmoose, are you German? And it's about taking the satellite phone on the cruise. It says, the cruise line, the cruise ship sells satellite phone service for big money. So it's just like bringing your own liquor on board. It's not allowed. The reason being they sell alcohol on board at huge prices. So it's all about the profit. And I can totally understand that. But another comment, and like I said, I can't find it right now, was from somebody saying that the reason you can't take a satellite phone on board is for safety reasons, because it can like tell the exact position of the ship, and that could be dangerous somehow. So, yeah. Thanks everybody for all your comments, and thanks for spending Sunday morning with me. It is another beautiful Sunday here in Hamburg, but I was out in the sun all day yesterday, or for a lot of the day yesterday, so I'm probably going to chill at home today, and I don't know, spend some time on Facebook looking at comments and stuff like that. So if you make a comment today, I might be able to answer you really quickly. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next week here in front of the red sofa. Bye-bye.